Aboro, Aboye, Aboshishe, and welcome to the Ifa Orisa tradition discussion. This week, we are going to discuss the importance of lineage in Trinidad and Tobago. But before we get into that discussion, let me start by offering the Iba. Open Nifon Olorun, Oludumare Oba Jiki, Mojiloni, Mowogun Meriaye, Iba Ila Orun, Iba Iwo Orun, Iba Ariwa, Iba Gusu, Iba Oba Igba Aye, Iba Orun Oke, Iba Baba, Iba Yeye, Iba Atiwo Orun. Alright, first I would like to apologize for the late start for today's live stream. But nonetheless, we are here and we are going to have this discussion concerning the importance of lineage. Alright, now when we talk about lineage and the importance of lineage, what is it that we are actually talking about? What is in fact lineage? What does it mean? What is the idea it represents? Alright, let's talk about that a little bit. The word lineage, as we use it in English, came from the Latin word lineae, L-I-N-E-A. The word developed in Old English as the word lignage, L-I-G-N-A-G-E. And then from there, it developed into the Old English as the word lineage. All right, and then in English, the word is actually line with the suffix age. A suffix is what is added to the end of a word to give the word a particular type of usage. All right, now the word age, of course, is a French suffix. All right, and the term age, as used with the word lineage or lineage, refers specifically to a collection or a system. All right, lignage in French means descent or race. All right, so whenever you hear the word lineage or lineage, it is in reference to your ancestors, or in the strict sense, the line of ancestors. Okay, so normally when we talk about the line or the lineage of our ancestors, you would hear people talk about a patrilineal lineage or a matrilineal lineage. And of course, the term patrilineal would refer to one's father's lineage or the male lineage, and the term matrilineal will refer to your mother's lineage. Now, how does this apply to our tradition? All right, the word Lineage from French, again, it talks about descent and race. All right? Now, in our culture and tradition, community life, village life, national life are all intertwined. All right? When we talk about lineage and we talk about ancestrality, and we're talking about a system and a collection, in our tradition, our ancestors plays the primary and fundamental role in our tradition. Meaning, those who came before us would have left a heritage for us in the form of our culture and tradition. All right? Now, the term kingdom is related to a system as well as a collection of related individuals, blood related. All right? Within that kingdom, you have an organized society, not just a collection, but a system where the order generally is related to ancestry, but it falls into a particular order. Because as long as you're discussing a system, then it means you're also discussing a particular order. In our tradition, because it is ancestral, it is based on the order of those who came before, those who are here now, and those who would come after. And the order of seniority would be the ancestors first, those of us who are alive, and then those who come behind us. And this is a continuous, ongoing, never-ending cycle. All right? It's like the LKs that we wear, which is a symbol of that continuity. All right? Now, if you are talking kingdoms, then when we look at the people of Trinidad and Tobago, those who have descended from our West African ancestors, as well as those who have descended partially from indigenous ancestors, one thing we do know historically is that our bloodline is not only from West Africa. We've had people from Central Africa, as well as people from East Africa and North Africa also. But in Trinidad, because of colonization, many of these various groups would have mixed and intermingled, producing what we have today genetically in terms of our people. So we are in fact an amalgam of people from different places, Africa as well as the Americas. All right? But beside kingdom, lineage, and ancestry, there is another aspect of lineage that we are going to look at tonight. Tonight we are going to look at Orunmila. We're going to look at Akoda. And we are going to look at all of those who came through that lineage or lineage in this tradition. And how we today, who are Ifa Orisa devotees, are the recipients of the energy, the tradition, the culture, and the heritage that was given from Olodumare to Orunmila, from Orunmila to Akoda. So let's talk a little bit about Orunmila. In many of the orikis that we chant, we describe many of the different attributes ascribed to Orunmila. Very importantly, for example, with the Iba that I said at the beginning of this live stream, I gave recognition to Olodumare, to the four corners of the earth, and then we descend in order coming down. All right? That order represents the method and the system that the Ashe, as well as the knowledge of the tradition, is passed on along that line. Now, Orunmila, let's just examine the name. The name Orunmila describes the fact that heaven alone knows who shall be saved or who will be saved. That is the literal translation of the name Orunmila. All right? Orunmila is generally referred to by many different attributes and names. You would hear names like Agboniregun or Orunmila Bara Agboniregun. All right? That attribute speaks of, in particular, where you meet the word Agbon, which is coconut. It speaks about not just his wisdom and his knowledge, but it also gives the concept of resilience. Because if you were to examine a coconut tree in a storm, it's very rare for a coconut tree to fall down. But what happens is that tree would bend, it would shake, it would shift, it would resist, but it stays stable and steady. And it would endure the most terrible winds, gusts, speeds, earthquake, any type of disaster. It will still be there. Maybe a few branches might be ruffled, broken. Some of the coconuts may fall off, but the tree remains steadfastly. So whenever you hear them refer to Orunmila, Bara Agboniregun, they are describing what is sturdy, what is steadfast, what is immovable in the character of Orunmila. All right? Now, one of the reasons why when we say Iba, we always give gratitude and recognition in a particular order is to show that line of descendancy of the Ashe. We are reminded through Orikis that Olodumare stands supreme. And then after Olodumare, we come all the way down. So normally in some of the Ibas, you would hear the name Orunmila, you would hear the name Akoda. Now, Akoda was supposedly the first student of Orunmila. But the name Akoda itself implies symbolically the concept of the descendancy of the Ashe that is passed on to every diviner who is a devotee of Ifa. The name Ako translates into English as the branch of a palm tree. It can also be interpreted as reality, genuineness, and authenticity. But the two characteristics that we would extract from the word Ako is branch and authenticity. So as far as we know, Akoda and Da means to make or create. All right. So Akoda would have been the first student, therefore making him the oldest Babalawo, the one who received the Ashe. And Akoda passed it on to Aseda, and then from Aseda it passed on until it reached to us today, who are the recipients of this illustrious tradition. All right, so it shows the importance of ancestry and lineage, how the tradition and the Ashe is passed from one to the other. All right. Now, I wanted to point out, because there are many people in Trinidad who have made no connection to Ifa and Trinidad. But I want to say that many of our ancestors who came were in fact familiar with Orunmila, with the diviner, with the tradition. All right. I'm going to recite, or read rather, a morning prayer that our ancestors who came from Nigeria brought and retained for all the years we were here. This prayer was not gotten anytime recently here from Nigeria. This is a very ancient prayer that came with our ancestors. The prayer reads, Ojo tu Maloni, Oludumare, Omo Jeko, Masi Ire, Ire Bayin Nani, Ajeki Obore Miado, Lori Aye, Mojibare, Igigun Merin Aye, Mojubare, Olojo Oni, Mojibare, Mon Enji Baramofon, Orisha, Bogbo, Bogbo, Bogbo. Ka Enkpwe, Alosun, Lorun, Labosun. Ta Jiwa, Maman Jeko, Telo Ju Irin, Maman Jeka, Enwipwe, Ki en Olorisha, en Kini, Oloshe, Adumele, and We Jiba. All right? But there is a particular verse in this morning prayer that I want to bring our attention to. And it is the lines, Ka enkerpwe, alonson, lorun laboson, ta jiwa, which translates into English as, those whom we call the creator of the daylight, patron of the one who possesses the diviner's dust, which is the Babalawo, whom we come into the world to find already there. This is a prayer that our ancestors would say in the morning when they got up. And in this prayer, they are paying respects to the possessor of the diviner's dust. And the diviner's dust would be in reference to a Babalawo or an Ifa priest who would use a Yerosun on his open Ifa to perform divination. All right, I did not create this prayer. It is written in the book called Trinidad Yoruba, written by Dr. Maureen Warner Lewis on page 82. So you can purchase the book and read it yourself. All right. So this is clear, and there are also other evidences in the book that indicates that there was in fact a clear knowledge of Ifa in Trinidad. So for those who have questions and doubts and all of that, they can purchase this book and do some studies, and it would help them to come to understand that in Trinidad we never lost everything. We were able to retain a great part of the tradition that belonged to us, that we inherited from our ancestors. All right, so for persons who want to know more, we offer several classes. Soon we would be advertising to begin, I think it's cycle number 5 or 6 on the fundamentals of Ifa. We also offer pre-Ishefa classes, also Itefa classes. All right, so for persons who are interested in learning more about Ifa, you can message me or just put a comment in, and I would be able to provide you the necessary information as to how you can register and how you could actually attend class. All right, and that's basically it for today. All right, I'd like to thank those who have joined me for this live, and I would like to say, you do good for yourself. You do bad for yourself. And with that, I would say Odabo and see you on Friday's live.